All right. Thank you, Chairman Sidi. Let's have ourselves a prayer. Father Lord, I thank you so much for giving us this wonderful opportunity to convene as business leaders on this platform, to convene and share about business and also prosper in each and every way, and also steward our businesses very well. In Jesus' name I do pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Today we're privileged to continue our discussion last Tuesday from the drift, and now we're going to be talking about the life plan. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our presenter for the day, Mr. Peter Businge.
All right, good morning to you all. I'm hoping you and your families are all well, and I'm glad again to be able to share what I have learned. This is not original information. This is information that I've learned, but I've found it useful, and I'm continuing to apply it and to make my life better. So I thought, why not? If I'm given the opportunity, why not share? So last week we managed to have a discussion on the life plan, also on drifting, and I'll just quickly recap for those that might have missed or those that might have been overwhelmed. So really what we saw last week is that drifting is floating aimlessly away. It is caused by several forces acting on our lives, like career, like work, like family, and the rest. It happens when we are unaware, when we are distracted, when we are overwhelmed or deceived. So basically, a drift will lead to confusion, will lead to expenses. We saw that when you drift, you spend on things you don't need, or you will need to spend to rectify the situation. We have lost opportunity, and then we have pain and regrets. And then we also say that drift is overcome by becoming aware of your location and deciding where you want to go and working towards your destination, all through a life plan. So that's a recap. Drift happens. Everyone in life experiences the drift. For me, there is that tree. For other people, maybe figuratively, there could be that tree where you just have a brain freeze, where you are stuck in life, where you are thinking what next, where you feel overwhelmed. And in that process, you get to drift away. But there is always a way to come back from that if you're already drifting, but there's also a way to prevent yourself from drifting so that you stick to what you want to do. And that's what we call the life plan. All this I'm getting from a book called Living Forward by a gentleman called Michael Hyatt. So I need to give credit to him. He's the one from whom I'm learning about this and from whom I'd like to share what I'm about to share. Thomas Carlyle says that a man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder. And that is exactly what is happening in life when you're drifting. However big and momentous your life is, or your projects are, or whatever it is you're doing in life, if you don't have a radar, then you will not go where you want to go. And that is exactly how life is. We need purpose in life if we are going to move where we want to go. And this is what the life plan does for each and every one of us. It creates that purpose. When we look at creating a life plan, Benjamin Franklin is the first known life planner. This was as early as 1730. Again, it's known because he kept record. So you will need to see that when you keep record, the future can be able to refer to you because you kept record, maybe of your life, of your journals. And this is something that I am learning, but I encourage us to do as well. I thought to myself the other day that I need to start writing a letter to each of my children on my birthday. And that letter should be detailing what the previous year of my life has been, what that translates to for them at that age, where they are, but also what that would translate for them when they hit that age so many years ahead, which I thought would be a good way to talk to my children, so that years past, if my son is hitting 50, he just needs to look for the letter I wrote when I was 50 years, and he would read my experience then and see how that relates to his and pick out a few nuggets here and there. So Benjamin Franklin is the first known life planner. In 1730, during his 20s, he drafted 13 essential virtues, things like humility, frugality, temperance, and chose to focus on one virtue each week while keeping track of his daily progress. So you imagine if you wrote the virtues you want to become, the things you want to become in your life, and you say, each week I'm going to focus on this one virtue, and I'm going to keep track of it daily. So let's say frugality. You'd go for a whole week learning out about frugality, learning how to be frugal, learning how, tracking your frugality and all this. Now that would be done. For him, he had 13 essential virtues. Depends on how many virtues you want to do. But I can see that you are able to redo your virtues at least thrice in a year, basically. And so that would be a good way to start. So Benjamin Franklin did that, and he was able to keep track. And this is where we get the origins of a life plan, because he created what he thought was important to him, and he acted on it and found ways on how to get better. But in short, what is a life plan? A life plan is a short document, usually 5 to 15 pages, and it's not more than 5,000 words. And 5,000 words is about 15 pages typed out. And you will notice that all the world-changing documents have also not been that long. When we look at the 10 Commandments, when we look at the Magna Carta, when we look at the US documents that changed the independence, that led to independence, all those documents have not been more than 15 pages. And so a life plan is not a booklet or a pamphlet that you're going to write out for your life. They're just a few pages. And depending where you are in your life, they'll range anywhere from 5 to 15 pages. It is created by you and for you. Nobody is going to create your life plan, because nobody understands the plan that God has for your life. You have that within you, and only you can produce it. So many times we want to copy and paste in life. In Uganda especially, someone's business is working, you want to copy. Someone's life is working, you want to copy their life plan. No, their life is their life plan. Their life plan is for their life. And so for your own life, you need to create yours for you and by you. A life plan will describe how you want to be remembered. Many times we just wake up, we're running the hustle mill, and you forget things. How will your life be at age 80? And this is where social media is becoming a very, very big challenge. The internet does not forget. And you see something and you're thinking, what will they tell their grandchildren 20 years from now, 50 years from now, about that post, about that picture? So you need to start to describe how you want to be remembered. Then we need to list your personal priorities. Everyone has a priority. When I tell people that I go for a rally, they cannot believe it. They cannot understand it. They cannot fathom why I am, in their minds, wasting money going for a rally. But for me, it is a thrill that rejuvenates me, that it's like fertilizer in my life. Like I just get woof, alive all over again. So everyone has their own personal priorities. List yours and focus on yours. Because it's your life plan, don't do it to look all glorious and glamorous. It's yours to be read by you and executed by you. That's it. All other things can stand aside. These are your priorities, and you need to stick to them. Then a life plan states specific actions necessary to move from where you are to where you want to go. You know, sometimes we are stuck in dreamland, and dreams unfulfilled lead to a lot of discomfort in your heart. So once you set your life plan, you also need to state the specific actions necessary to move from where you are to where you want to go. Because without action, if you don't have an action plan that is attached to your life plan, then you're just dreaming, you're daydreaming, you're hallucinating, you're just having, you're short of going to Butabika. But if you have specific actions necessary that you have figured out, that you have consulted on, and that you believe can take you to where you want to go, then you move from being a dreamer to having a vision and executing on your vision. There are 3 key questions we need to ask as we do our life planning. The number 1 is, how do I want to be remembered? That's the first one. We've gone through it. The number 2 question is, what matters most to you? Okay, what matters most to you? And because we are Christian believers, the Holy Spirit dwells within us. These questions, you'll say, but what if I don't know what matters? Of course, you know what matters. It's within you. You have the Holy Spirit. Just seek it out and you will find it. So what matters most to you is within you. You just have not yet sought it out if you're not sure about it. And then number 3 is, how can I get from here to where I want to be? So I think for me, those are the 3 key questions that are coming up. And even as you design your life plan, these are the 3 key questions you need to refer to. How do I want to be remembered? What matters most? How can I get from here to where I want to be? I'll equate the life plan to a Google Maps or GPS. And how does the Google Maps work? Number 1, you download the app. When you download the app, you have to put in a destination. So it requires that you put your destination. If you have a GPS device, you have to put in your destination. We are lucky now, we just download it and have the app on the phone. Then it gets you there faster with less hassle. So the GPS, the Google Maps takes you there. And this is exactly what the life plan is. You could find your way through Kampala. Oh, okay, now we know Kampala. Let's say you go to Nairobi. You could find your way through Nairobi. But if you have a GPS, if you have a Google Maps, you will get there faster with less hassle. It gives you feedback. It gives you constant feedback on your progress. As we all know, when you're on Google Maps, in 500 meters, turn left. In 200 meters, take a U-turn. It's always updating you and giving you feedback long before you reach where you need to go, long before you reach where you need to turn. So it prepares you in advance. And that's exactly what the life plan seeks to do in your life. Imagine today, and you have that. Morning, Peter. Your 200 meters, you take a right, you're going to sign that business deal. And when you continue 400 meters, you take a left, you're going to save that money. Because it is in my life plan, that would be how the life plan relates back to me. So it helps you get back on track when you lose your way. Again, we all would lose our way in one way or another. But when you refer to your plan, you're able to get back on track and able to know that, okay, I went off track here, but how do I get back? The route is you're able to go. And so, like Google Maps, it reroutes you around roadblocks. Life will not be a straight line. There will be roadblocks. Where I sit in DMK house here at Africana, there are days you wake up, everything is in plan, and just when you're coming up from those lights at Lugogo bypass, you find that military truck. So the military truck has blocked you access to that road next to Kololo airstrip. So now we have to reroute. You just see people making U-turns in that place and all that. But that's what the Google Maps will do for you, and that's what the life plan does. Sometimes there will be roadblocks in life, but you just reroute because your destination remains clear. It's not always accurate, but yes, it is nearest to the best path that you can take. And it requires an investment. If you're going to use Google Maps, you have to download it, you have to have data. So there's still an investment in the life plan. You have to invest time, you have to invest effort to be able to achieve what you are seeking to achieve. If you need to buy a GPS, you still have to spend money. So that is also something that we have to keep at the back of our minds, that a life plan requires investments. It works like the Google Maps and helps us across so many other aspects and navigations through life. What's the benefit of a life plan? Number 1, you clarify your priorities. It is key. What are your priorities? If I asked you today, if your wife asked you today, if your husband asked you today, if your future wife or husband asked you, what are your priorities? What will you say? Clarify your priorities. I remember one day my wife telling me that my vision was so big, she was willing to get married to me, even if we were going to sleep down on a mat in a Muzigo. It was very humbling, but it also, helped me see that, what, maybe there are some aspects that were so clear for her that she was okay to settle, to start from the bottom, because the priorities were very clear in my life. So that's the same thing. We need to clarify our priorities. Number 2, we need to maintain balance. So the benefits of the life plan is that it maintains your balance in life. You might be succeeding in career, pushing, but your kid hardly knows you and you hardly know your child. So that balance is something that comes when you do the life plan. It filters opportunities. You are here, you're working, but then you get a job that is 10x your current salary. What will you do? The job is in Kinshasa, and it's only for you to move. Even if it's not for you to move, let's say the job is in Goma, but we all know Goma is near the rebels. We all know, so would you take that job? If you have a family, maybe you might not. If you don't have, maybe you might. So it helps you filter opportunities when you have a life plan. Facing reality, you need to know where you are, and the life plan helps you face the reality. You're dreaming big. You're always talking about Mpenkonis. You're always talking about this car and the other mansion and this area of Kololo and Naguru and whatever. But what is the reality on the ground? Where are you versus where you want to go? So you face the reality. You are in a Muzigo and you're looking at Kololo. What is it going to take to move you from a Muzigo to Kololo? Face the reality. It's not going to take you 1 year. It might not take you even 10 years. It might take you 20 years. And so when the reality check comes in, you keep the dream of Kololo, but you adjust and say, I need to work through. If I do these action steps for the next 20 years, I'm going to have a plot and a house and whatever it is in Kololo. So you face the reality. It helps us to envision the future. Many times we always think, no, I'll think about that when I get there. But imagine if you thought about your life at age 80. Sometimes when I'm going to the Western Uganda, I see people who have built double-storied buildings and triple-storied buildings as their family homes. And I'm thinking, when you are age 80, do you really want to go up the stairs to your master bedroom? Did you envision how you will utilize your retirement home? Because honestly, the people I have visited who have their master bedrooms upstairs, when they hit about 60, they change a room downstairs and transform it into a bedroom because they no longer want to go. The knees have started to give way. The effort of moving up and down the stairs is not there. So we need to envision the future when we are doing that, and the life plan helps us do that. And then it helps us avoid regrets. Regret is such a dangerous thing because when you get into regret in today's day and age, you slip into depression. I don't know why depression is more now than it was in our forefathers' times. Maybe because it's being acknowledged now. Maybe because the pressures are too much now. I don't know. But regret is one of the leading causes that will lead you to depression. So the benefit of the life plan is giving you that mental health that you need. That, well, fine, I'm in a Muzigo, but I know I'm going to Kololo. Well, fine, they call it in Bamfudu. I'm on the Mfudu, but I know I'm going to work X, Y, and Z and get to the vehicle that I want. Creating your life plan. How do you create the life plan then? Number one, begin at the end. Psalms 90 verse 12 reminds us, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. Sometimes we live life like we won't die, but it is true to the fact that each and every one of us will have to leave this earth. And unless you are lucky that you will be here when the rapture happens, you will have to die. So when we begin with the end in mind, death of each one of us, how do we start to work backwards? Teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts to wisdom. Once you have begun at the end, you decide what kind of legacy you want to leave behind. Someone said, every one of us will leave a legacy. The question is, what type of legacy will you leave? You came into this world, you went to school in primary without shoes, and you have died, and your children still have to think about shoes as a big item because you did not sort out the issue of shoes. You came into this world, you did your thing up to a degree, and you have died, and your children are still also going to have to struggle to reach a degree level. What kind of legacy have you left behind? Did you pass on a baton that is going to make them better, or are you going to be like the other child? There's a clip that was moving on Gatali Konfufu, where the man went to the grave of his parents and was weeping the grave. He said, why did you do this to us? Why did you leave us poor? You have died. You have left us with all your debts and your problems. What's wrong with you? But that was the legacy that that gentleman left to his children. When you're creating the life plan, you need to shape the legacy. And how do you shape your legacy? Number one, you identify your key relationships. What is key for you in terms of relationships? Depending on where you are. Right now, I have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. My relationship with my children is key. When I make a business decision, I still need to remember that I have children. If I want to go to work in Lubumbashi, I need to know, how long am I going there? Should I go there? Do I have an alternative? How often will I be able to interact with my children? How will I fix those gaps when I'm not able to interact with my children? All these questions I need to answer because I need to create a relationship with my children, with my wife. All these are there. Once you're shaping your legacy, you need to describe how you want to be remembered by each group. So we have BLN. Assuming you are dead, what do you want BLN to know about you? Should they know that you are here all the time? You are the guy, every month you are presenting one? Or should they be like, oh, your guy afude kweli yaliku BLN? Did we ever see that guy kweli? Why? Because you are on the Kamori. You're the guy sucking out all the information from the group. You never post. You find a good link. You just read it in your Kamori. You don't share it. And yet you know you're on a business leaders network. Banang. At least you post and people say, that one we don't allow. I remember when I just joined BLN, I posted an ebook, a PDF. I was fired left, right, and center. Here we don't post PDFs, what. I got to know and I realized, okay, this is how BLN works. But at least I was saying, let me try and be relevant to BLN because it's a group that I am benefiting from. How do I want BLN to remember me? So you need to identify each group. Your OBs, do you want them to remember you or you don't want? Your OGs, your workmates. So you begin to determine which groups you want to remember you. And then you make your legacy statements as compelling as you can. In the part 2 of another time, when I get another opportunity to share, we'll look at some legacy statements. But how do you want people to walk up and say, we worked with Peter Businge, a guy who was a difference maker, or be like, man, the man lived and he died. May his soul rest in peace. And that's it. No one can have a personal, discussion about you. So it helps us to begin to qualify. Excuse me. But also it helps you filter. Sometimes we are on all these groups, but your group, it's okay. It's okay. I may not be active, but I'm just there. And you've made peace with that. No one is going to judge you for that, but you should make peace with that. Not be in your grave walking and thinking, my God, how can my village not contribute a wealth for me? My friend, what did you do on your village group? You were there and you kept quiet. So we need to create the legacy statements that we want, and then we make the most of the time left. Once you have done the legacy and you see what you want to do, make the most of the time that you have left. It doesn't matter how bad the relationship is. If your relationship with your child is strained, start from there. Take the initiative, make the call, do whatever it takes. So the second thing about creating the life plan is you determine your priorities. What's best for you? Identify your life accounts. And in the life accounts, we have 3 types of accounts. We have the circle of being, the circle of relating, and the circle of doing. As you create your life accounts, look at your circle of being. Internally, this is the most closest inner circle. The circle of relating, who are you relating with? And the circle of doing, what are you doing? And this is just a snapshot from that book. So the of being is the innermost, and in that innermost, we see spiritual, intellectual, physical. So here is where you have your physical fitness, your spiritual fitness, your intellectual fitness. You might be praying, but you're not working out your body. And so you're not, keeping your body in good shape. Or you are praying, or you are keeping fit, but you're not growing intellectually. The same way you were January 1st, 2022 is the same way you are today. And you're just saying, when is the year ending? Can't wait for the year to end. Can't wait for the year to end, but what have you added to your brain? 0. Then we move to the circle of relating, marital, social, parental. If you're married, that's where the marital thing comes up. If you're for social is definitely your friends, your family, and parental for your children. This is the circle of relating. And then the third circle is the circle of doing, financial. What are you doing to bring in money? Vocational, how do you make your money? And then avocational, what are your hobbies? What things do you do that just fulfill you? For me, avocational here is rallying. Avocational here is doing things on my bucket list. I want to go parachute jumping. I want to go and walk on the seabed of the North Sea. I want to go and swim with the sharks. This is the stuff I want to do. This is the avocational for me. So creating your life plan as I wind up. This was part one. As you all know, we could not squeeze it well, so we'll have the part two. Considerations for your priorities. One, they are unique to you. Number two is the life accounts can be named whatever you want. You can name your life account for each child or for each person in your life or for each activity. The life accounts are up to you. Life accounts are interrelated, so don't look at them in isolation. One is necessary for the other or one affects the other. And then the life accounts change over time. My priorities now will not be the same priorities when I'm age 20. When I'm age 20, I'm working out, I'm giving back, I'm giving knowledge. So maybe that time, it is now more time relating with other people than my family. So these life accounts change over time. Have your priorities in the right order. And for this, you need to ask, what is the most important account on my list? What is the one I would not be willing to sacrifice no matter what? And then you start from there. That one account that you would not be willing to sacrifice no matter what, that you rather die than have that account cancelled off your list. That is number one. Then you go to number two and number three and all that. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to pause here and stop. I've been moving a bit fast, but I wanted to keep within the time. I hope I've been able to share. We'll have some time when we can finish on the part two on the next steps. Now that you've made a decision, you want to do the life plan, what next? And then I'll share the document so that we can all draft the life plan. And as you will see, some of the things that are required for a life plan is you need to take at least 1 day off. Thank you. Over to you, Bishop, in the case there are any questions or comments.
Wow. Peter, how do you want to be remembered on BLN? Food for thought for those on call. But yes, if you have any question, please raise your hand up and we'll start with Jean Romijuhu. I don't know if I got the pronunciation right.
Romiju.
Yeah. You mentioned a book, Peter. I was wondering if you could just please tell us which book that was. Thank you.
The book is called Living Forward. I'll send the cover on BLN just so that you can get it. It's by a gentleman called Michael Hyatt. I bought all his books. He's a good writer on many things about life, about strategy. So I'll post it on the page. It's called Living Forward by Michael Hyatt.
Please, this time don't post the PDF.
I learned my lesson, director. I learned.
Yes. Any other questions? People have only 2 minutes. In case you have questions, please shoot up your hand and we do this quick. I noticed there are quite a number of comments. I will just try and go through them. Okay. In the interest of yes, Lodwin, and then we shall have Patricia Cahill after you. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for a wonderful presentation. Mine is very quick. In regards to making the life plan, should it be like specifying or highlighting the key targets in your life and how to get there, or you have to break it down in terms of phases, where phases are more like here, say at 30, I should be here, at 35, I should be here, at 40, I should have done ABCD and all that, or you just say, I need to be here at 60. And then you figure out how to get there before 60. Maybe you could elaborate on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Sorry, I missed the name. I was attending. Muhwezi, yes. So what happens is that this is your life plan, and this is you to create it. And when we come to part two, we'll see that there are various sections within the life plan. The whole point is we want to look at the whole range of life, because you want to see your life at age 70. So we can just look at age 30 now we have to look the whole range up to age 70. But you are 25. So what are you going to do this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years to get to that? And when we come to the part 2, we'll see that the life plan is a living document. What you wrote in December does not need to stand in January, because it's your life. Your life has changed. Maybe initially you were just a middle manager. Suddenly you are the CEO of a national corporation. So the life plan will change. So the life plan evolves. It's a living document, and we'll see in some of the actions that you have to keep referring to it every week, every month, every quarter, and keeping track of your progress. So what I think, and we'll see in the part 2, is that you have to see your long range, age 70, but age 70 goes through age 30 and age 40 and age 50. So you'll have your plan of 70, but the steps are broken down from 70 years up to when you are where you are now of 1 year. And we'll try and see the format in the next part. Hopefully that will come out. Hope I've been able to answer that.
Yes, you have.
Very well, thank you.
Patricia, can you please go ahead?
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Businge, thank you for joining us this morning. My question, do you offer coaching services for this thing? Because I believe most of us on this call would really want to sit that one day and create this document. So my question is, do you offer coaching services for this thing?
No, I don't, but that's a good business idea. I think I would love to venture further.
Please do.
Yeah, but I think it's good that you're also saying it's a day event. When we come to part 2, you realize that a life plan is not created for a few hours. You need to plan and take off a whole day, preferably out of the city, and sit down, you and your notebook, and write your life plan. And honestly, once that happens, you should be able to get to the next level. Maybe we can start with BLN and create our own, strategy group or something, and we all brainstorm on creating that. But thank you, Patricia. I think I should definitely consider coaching on this life plan. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Peter. Patricia, just for your knowledge, this man is not only knowledgeable on life plans, he's a management guru and a coaching man. He wears many hats, even marriage. Yes. So that's an idea. Our next breakfast, who knows? We might have Peter Businge with us for our next breakfast, and our next topic might be our life plan. We're going to end here. Very interesting discussion, lots and lots and lots of comments. Unfortunately, we can't go through all of them. I can still see there are other questions, but like Peter said, we might have a part 2 of the life plan here to cover up whatever questions might have been left hanging, especially from the chat group. But for the rest of us, let's go create that life plan. Let's determine how we want to be remembered on DLN. How are we going to remember you on this group? Yeah. May God give us speed. May God give us action. May God give us wisdom. May the Holy Spirit guide us to answer the key questions that are pertinent to us. And may we live a life of significance. We pray all this trust in your mighty name.
Amen.
Amen.